would explain today how design thinking can impact on business, on new ideas, and this is one of the most, let's say, interesting, I believe, process that a new company or a consolidated company can do to jump in a worldwide scenario and in the international market. So I would like to share now the presentation. Which is, is it working?
Not yet.
Why? Okay.
Yes, we can see your presentation.
Okay, so that's very good. Let me first give you a brief definition of what design thinking is. Design thinking is, let's say, a process, is a popular definition by this concept by Tim Brown, that say that the design thinking match people need, and is very popular, this definition, with that is technological feasible and what is viable business strategy can convert in customer value and market opportunity. So I would like also to say that design thinking is a non-linear interactive process that team use to understand user, challenge an assumption, redefine problem, and create an innovative solution to prototype and test. Design thinking involves 5 steps, emphasize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. And it's most useful to tackle problems that are undefined, ill-defined, and unknown. So let's say that the aim of this masterclass will be to explore our innate abilities to see different solutions of problems that we have in our company. And you have probably heard about that necessity is the mother of invention. From many personal experience, and from my personal experience, I think that mother of the necessity is a mother of invention, but the father is the opportunity. So let's say that necessity and opportunity are the 2 pillars for the development of creative thinking. And they have to, we must relate it to each other to create an innovative solution. So I would like also to say that design thinking has an attribute that are very clear to define the whole process for the SMEs. Ambiguity first. We have to accept that things can be unclear and undefined when we work on problem, and that answer might be not obvious and known. We have to be very collaborative and working together in our company or to collaborate with the colleague at every stage of the process. Then we have to be very, to be curiosity and be motivated to ask questions and to open our mind to find a new solution of our problem. And then we have to create empathy, be able to understand things from user point of view. This is very, very important. And the other 3 points is that we have to have an holistic approach to things, being able to see the larger picture and looking at the situation and the problem for multiple angles. We have to be very interactive. We have to create a circle of, we have to interact each other and to improve our idea in the process and to embrace the idea of all the team in order to come up with the best solution. And then we have to have an open-minded, to be open-minded and embrace wild ideas. So we don't, it's very important when we start a design thinking approach to not jump to a conclusion and adopt an experimental approach to find the best solution. So this slide, in my point of view, is exactly summarize what design thinking is. This design thinking is making think that people want. So the experience that we create with the design thinking process is that the company has to be very focused on the user experience. I think we have a video that I would like to launch. Yeah, probably is the link of the video. Can you start with the video at page 3, or I have to do? Hello?
Please, Elisabetta, you have to stop sharing your screen.
Can you launch the video?
Elisabetta, can you press to stop sharing your screen?
Okay.
Please.
Just a second.
Shifa, you can share it as well. Enable sharing while someone else is sharing.
Okay. Hello?
Just press on the stop sharing your screen up the window, because I cannot open extra. Okay, that's right. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
A long, long time ago, if humans wanted to move something, we had to carry it. And as time went on, we were able to solve this problem and millions of others. In life, we're always bumping into new problems. And while we have the desire to solve them, it's often hard to find the right solution or even know where to start. That's where design thinking comes in. Design thinking is a process that seeks to solve complex problems by a long, long time ago, if you in life, we're always bumping into new problems. And while we have the desire to solve them, it's often hard to find the right solution or even know where to start. That's where design thinking comes in. Design thinking is a process that seeks to solve complex problems by approaching it from the user's perspective. It also aims to turn your ideas into tangible, testable products as quickly as possible. The design thinking framework can be drilled down into 3 distinct phases: immersion, ideation, and implementation. But if we zoom in a little bit, these phases can be broken down into 5 actionable stages that make up the entire design thinking process: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. In the empathize stage, you'll get to know your target audience and paint a clear picture of who the users are, what challenges they face, and what they need. This can be achieved through interviews, user testing, surveys, basically by talking to people and understanding how they think, act, and feel. Based on what you learn, you'll then define your problem statement. When creating your problem statement, focus on the user's needs over the business goals. Keeping it human-centered is the theme here. This problem statement will act as your North Star. If you start to trail off or get lost, just look back to the problem statement to refocus. With our problem statement defined, we're ready to ideate. Keep in mind, innovation is rarely born in isolation, so don't fly solo. Get up from your desk, cubicle, or spaceship, gather some key individuals from other teams, and collaborate. The name of the game is quantity over quality. So think outside of the box and explore new angles. There are many ideation techniques to get you and your team started. A great reference is our Design Thinking Handbook by Eli Woolery. Check it out at designbetter.com. Next stop, prototyping. Prototypes come in all shapes and sizes, from basic paper models to interactive digital mock-ups. The goal is to have something tangible that can be tested on real people. Getting your prototype into the hands of real users will give you great insight on if the solution you provided is valid or if it needs some more work. Based on their feedback, you can make changes and improvements before spending the time and money building the real thing. Although these steps appear to be sequential, keep in mind, design thinking is less linear and more iterative. At each stage, you'll most likely discover new things that require you to go back and repeat a previous step. And there you have it, design thinking in a nutshell. Now get out there and start applying design thinking to your work today. You'll be glad you did. For more information on design thinking, head on over to envisionapp.com/inside design, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right, thank you. I come back just a second. Yeah. Now I want to share again. It's a little bit complicated. Are you in?
We are seeing your screen, desktop.
I would like to reshare the document. New share. Yeah. New share. Okay. Is it okay? Oh.
Yes, we see it.
Okay, very good. So again, one of the, from my point of view, from my experience, one of the most difficult process in a new company, a new startup, is how to reach the final user and how to get in the market. So this is the main point that every company need to understand before starting any kind of process and develop a new product or new services. So design thinking is helping, is the right process that really can help to come up with innovative solution when the innovation, it's really the main point that a company is, the main goal that a company has to achieve when is approaching a competitive scenario and when is want to export in all over the world. So let's say that as Steve Jobs says, design is not just what it looks like and feel like, design is how it works. Many people think that design thinking is confused with virtual design. Of course, this is not. Is a process that that really want to come up with solution. So this is the key point of the design thinking process. Actually, design thinking is less about thinking and more about doing. Design thinking is for everybody. Tim Brown believed that design thinking technique and strategy of design belong at every level of business. So design thinking is not only for designer, but of course for entrepreneurs, creative employees, freelancer and leader who seek to infuse design thinking into every level of organization, product or service in order to drive new alternatives for business and society. Design thinking is essential a problem-solving approach which combine a user-centered perspective with rational and analytic research with the goal of creative, innovative solution. So the key element is that it's people-centered, highly creative, interactive, and hands-on. So this is the 5 stages of design thinking project, which is empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Empathize, this is the first step. Every company, every people that really want to approach the design thinking project has to understand the user need and the problem. Believe me that it's not an easy job, because I understand the user need. It's the most difficult point that probably we faced when we decide to jump in a new sector or a new project, in a new service, and implement a new business. So this has to be defined very carefully. And how we can do that? We have to work in team all together in a company, and observe and define the problem we are facing in our company, and how to solve it to enter properly in the market with the right product or the right solution. Then we have to ideate and think of solution to each aspect of the problem. So ideate a new services or a new product is a matter of, again, end user research. So we have to understand very deeply which are our customer, and the need of our customer, and how we can organize a better and ideate a better solution for our end user. Then we have to prototype. Prototype is the development of the solution, and can be, prototype means that we develop physically the solution, the product or the services, and then we try to understand if it is the right solution or not. And then we have the final step, which is the test. And the test is the other hand of the other hand, let's say, process that it's extremely important, because the test is related to our customer and stakeholders. So when we test a product or we define services, then we have to understand if the test is matching, the user need and how our stakeholder and the impact that this final solution have on our stakeholder. So emphasize means that we have to really to be very focused on the user need. So it's the time to accumulate the information gathered during the emphasize stage. You then analyze your observation and synthesize them to define the core problem you and your team have identified. These definitions are core problem statement. You can create personas to help keep your effort human-centered before proceeding to ideation. Define means that state your user need and problem. Now we are ready to generate idea. The solid background and knowledge from the first two phases means that you can start to think outside the box, look the alternative ways to view the problem, and identify innovative solution to the problem statement you have created. Brainstorming is particularly useful here. Yeah, this is a very important point, because again, companies, internal brainstorming is one of the assets on design thinking project, because sometimes and many times, a company used to have separate brainstorming among sales department, marketing department. This is one of the most wrong things that a company can do. If really we want to launch an innovative ideas, an innovative product, we have to make a deep brainstorming. Hello, you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. A deeply brainstorming with the company, within the team of the company. Then we have the step of ideate, which is the challenge assumption and create ideas. Also, create ideas, it's not an easy job, because of course that means that we have probably to revise our company strategy, because design thinking strategy is strictly connected with the company strategy that a company has. So when we want to launch a new product, means that we have to be very creative in the process of the ideation of the new product, and also to understand the segment of the market that we want to cover. So the ideate a new product is a complex process that takes time, and takes also a lot of time in researching the positioning of the product in the market, the target countries we want to achieve. So it's a step that takes a certain time and has to be elaborated and done among the team of the companies. This is the prototype. The prototype step is the experimental phase. The aim of this is to identify the best possible solution for each problem found. So your team should produce an expensive scaled-down version of the product. This is just to test and to investigate if your ideas is good or not, because sometimes. Another point of a very important point of the design thinking is that we have to be open, and also if we fail, we have to restart again the process, because this is part of the process. So when we prototype, we have to understand at the first level if our product or our service is in the right position in the market. So we have to be very careful in investigating this with our potential client, stakeholder, and customer. So then we come up to the final step of the process, which is the test. A designer or evaluator rigorously tests the complete product or services using the best solution and identified during the prototype phase. Even during this phase, alteration or redefinement are made in order to rule out the problem solution and arrive as a deep understanding of the product and its user as possible. So also this, it's a very, very important step of the project, because we test our final product, our service. So it's highly recommended to test before with the customer, with the consolidated customer that we have, and then try to understand how the new product and the new services, which kind of impact has in your new client. And this is especially related to the marketing and the communication campaign that the company will set up to launch the new product. So to summarize again, the 5 steps: emphasize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. And then we enter in detail of the design thinking process, which is the 7 factors. And I would like to launch the video, but I have to start. Can you launch the video?
Yes, please.
Design Thinking and Innovation at Apple, a Harvard business case that won 2013 ECCH Case Award. The authors of the business case are Harvard Business School professor Stephen Tomke and independent researcher Barbara Feinberg. The summary and the presentation are created by Li Wei, Technology Commercialization Manager from Agency for Science, Technology and Research, Singapore. The full business case is available from Harvard Business Review. In 2012, Apple became the most valuable public traded company in history, with $600 share price, $620 billion market capital, and $100 billion annual sales. Apple's success was not just the result of strategic moves or innate sense of market timing. It is a surprising consistency in the way the company worked. Simply put, the Apple way. First, design thinking. Those of us on the original Macintosh team were really excited about what we were doing. The result was that people saw a Mac and fell in love with it. There was an emotional connection. That, I think, came from the heart and soul of the design team. Bill Atkinson, member of Apple Macintosh development team. In the mid-1970s, computers were typically housed in discrete locations and only used by specialists. The notion of computer as a tool for individual work was unimaginable in the 1970s. To help people love their equipment and the experience of using it, the level of complexity needed to be reduced dramatically. Apple's product starts with design, from people's need and want. The design of the product is not limited by technology. The engineers are pushed to use the same kind of creativity and innovation to make it happen. Design is very well thought through. It is beyond fashion. The capacity and technology to build it is not commoditized, and no compromise for the functionalities. This is design thinking, a combination of user desirability, technology possibility, and market viability. Smallest of details are scrutinized, not just the appearance of the product, but also its functions, features, and packaging. The design team kept on going deep until they found the key underlying principle of a problem, then built on it. Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works. That simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Second, strategy and execution. You can see a lot just by observing. Yogi Berra, Major League Baseball player and manager. Apple's history began in 1976. It launched the first personal computer, Apple II, in 1978. In 1981, IBM entered the market with its PC that can be cloned. Since 1985, Apple's market share kept declining. The board of Apple axed Steve Jobs. In the following 11 years, products and projects at Apple proliferated in consequence of various strategies, and many of them failed. The technology department process became more traditional and resembled approaches found at other companies. Process makes you more efficient, but innovation comes from people calling each other at 10:30 at night with a new idea. It comes from saying no to 1,000 things to make sure we don't get on the wrong track or try to do too much. By Steve Jobs. Everything changed after Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 1997. Decisions were made to achieve the excellence in execution. Stopped licensing program, eliminated 70% of new projects. Product line was reduced from 15 to only 3. Website was launched for direct sales. Sophisticated marketing kept product development complete secret. Shut down facilities and moved them abroad. Inventory was reduced from months to a few days. Apple also adopted the platform strategy for its products. They designed the initial product as a platform with an architecture that accommodated the development and the production of the derivative products. Customers' experience was integrated into Apple's product design and development. A lot of it empirically drives with iterative customer involvement. Apple worked intimately with manufacturers and assured that their product be completely attuned to customers. Apple's product always evolves. The importance of design is a motivation to continued innovation rather than a static approach that assumes a single conclusion. Third, CEO as chief innovator. The really great person will keep on going and find the key underlying principle of the problem and come up with a beautiful, elegant solution that works. Steve Levy, author of The Perfect Thing. Company founders essentially imprint their organizations with their own personality characteristics, and Apple Jobs is no exception. Steve Jobs and Apple seem like interchangeable terms. Steve Jobs' drive for perfection was Apple's drive for beautiful, elegant products and its superior operations. Steve Jobs' vision held that Apple's products were to be personal tools for individuals instead of enterprise solution. Steve Jobs also had total hands-on involvement in decision-making, from strategy to product and service design to packaging. Fourth, bold business experimentation. The greatest artists like Dylan, Picasso, and Newton risked failure. And if we want to be great, we've got to risk it too. Steve Jobs. When everyone was moving online, Apple decided to move into retail and created every Apple store with the same painstaking focus on details. Against conventional wisdom of open platform, collaboration, community design, transparency, Apple insisted to develop and integrate its own hardware, software, and keep product launches secret. Apple was also constantly learning, adapting, and evolving, from the design of array of colors to black and white color theme, from the closed developer community to the open developer platform, from no compatibility for other OS to Windows compatibility. In summary, the root of Apple's success was a set of principles with a deep commitment to great products and services at its core. Design thinking, clear development strategy and execution, its CEO as chief innovator, and the rational courage to conduct bold business experiments. For more presentations about innovation management and technology commercialization, please visit www.inodiary.org.
So, yeah, I share again. Yeah, the 7 factors. So I think that it's really very clear how design thinking can impact when the process and the product is still focalized. Sorry, just a second. The dog. It's focalized. Yeah, when the product is completely focalized on the end user. So so the 7 factors that influence user experience: useful, usable, findable, credible, desirable, accessible, and valuable. So let's see all these points. The success of a product depends on more than utility and usability alone. Products which are usable, useful, findable, accessible, credible, and valuable, and desirable are much more likely to succeed on the marketplace. So useful, it is very clear that when we design a product or a services that is useful, this is a very precise element that will give us our potential customers. So this is an experience that we have to create for our end user, because it is essential to have an innovative, to give an innovative solution or proposal for the market. So if a product is not useful to someone, why would you want to bring it to the market? So if it has no purpose, is unlikely to be able to complete for attention alongside a market full of useful products. So this is a very important point. Usability is concerned with enabling user to achieve their objective with the product effectively and efficiently. So this is another very important point that we have to take in consideration, like findable. Findable refers to the idea that the product must be easy to find, and in instance of digital information product, the content within them must be easy to find too. This is a very important point because using digital marketing, of course, the e-commerce and all the tools that we have to market our product globally, findable is one of the assets when a company start a new product or marketing a new product or a new services. Then we have credibility, credible. We must create a solution that are credible for our end user. And this is related to the ability to the user to trust in the product that you have provided, not just what it does the job is supposed to do, but also what it will last for a reasonable amount of time, and what the information provide with inaccurate and fit for purpose. Then has to be desirable. So this is the other, but desirable product. This is Apple is an example. I mean, I think the big one and the most. I mean, they create a desirable product, and they work so much hard in branding their product that now, this is, in my point of view, this is the example for all the companies from startup to big companies, that if you really want to create a product that goes to the market, you have to see at your final user. So this is something that I repeat in every contest, and also I experience in many time when I built a new brand and I enter in the market with new solution and new services. So desirability is conveyed in design through branding, images, identity, aesthetic, and emotional design. The more desirable product is, the more likely is that the user has the will to take and to create. I mean, and about it creates desire in other user. Then accessible is also very important, because accessibility is now is an add value for all kind of product or services or experience that we are putting on the market. And valuable is the main asset. Of course, to create a valuable product is not an easy job. Again, you have to work a lot on the experience to visualize the marketing experience that you want to create in your customer. So you have to investigate a lot in your competitors, because of course competitors, we are full of competitors when we are approaching a new product or ideas. So a comparative analysis on this is very, very important when we want to create a valuable product. So the product or the service must deliver value. It must deliver value to the business which create it, and in the user who buy or use it. We all should bear in mind that value is one of the key influence and purchase decision. And I want to stress again, especially for the startup, because for new entrepreneurs that just approach the market, be very target on the value. The value, of course, of the product or of the service is not only the value that the tangible value, but it's especially the intangible value that you can create. So this is a very important asset of your product. How much the product is sustainable, which material you use to produce it, and how you fit the product in the market, the way you market the product, and the way you communicate your marketing campaign. So these are tangible. So we have tangible and intangible asset when we are talking about value of the product or the services. Then the 10 principles that makes design thinking successful. Are you there?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, very good. Well, explore the user and his need intensively. The first step in design thinking is to empathize with user to find out what the real problem is and what the user needs are. In practice, too little attention and time is usually given to this step in the company. This is, again, one of the most important points in design thinking process. So please, when you start exploring this stage, analyze, emphasize with the user, with the end user, and try to understand your positioning, your segment in the market, and the problem that your user need have. Because sometimes the company is more focused on the technological solution of the product or the services, but not on the user need. And it is very clear from my point of view and from my experience that if you don't do that, you can have, you can produce, have the most important technology you have in your hand, but if you are not able to communicate this to your end user and to your customer, that you don't have a lot, because you have just 50%, you solve the 50% of the problem. And the design thinking process is exactly focalize on the problem solution. Every company has problem in entering in the market. So it's not enough, now it's very popular to launch a marketplace, e-commerce, in the marketplace e-commerce, and to promote through digital, which is of course extremely important. But from the other point of view is that the first big effort that a company or a new startup has to do before launching any product or services in the market is end user. Understand the problem and the need of your end user. This is something that has to be done very deeply. I would also, I like very much this sentence of Albert Einstein. If I had only 1 hour to save the world, I would spend 55 minutes defining the problem and only 5 minutes finding the solution. So defining the problem is the key point to understand how the solution can come up, the right solution can come up. So then point 2, put together a heterogeneous team. Yeah, the team is, design thinking approach, which is a design strategy of your company, is for a human-centered approach. So put together the team, 5-6 people in your company from different experience around the table, and just start to evaluate and to understand the problems and to come up with solution from different perspective and from different skill. In this process, you have to be very open mind. There is no leader in a process like that, because people have to be very free. They have to feel free to say to propose any kind of solution around the table, and without any competition, but only with the aim to create the proper environment to find out the good solution and for the customer and for the end user. Then point 3, avoid the outsourcing process. During the design thinking process, it is extremely important that the project, that all the steps will be done inside the company and not in outsourcing, because design thinking is about working together on the project. So all team members are involved in each step and play a very important role by giving their point of view, and their solution to come up with the final product for the market. Provide a mobile workplace and sufficient materials. A creative process needs an environment in which idea can flourish and prototype can be developed. In design thinking project, you often approach the topic very playfully. For example, situation in the form of story, of sketches that you have seen at the customer or user replay. So this is, looking for having a place where to start this process within the company member is another very important point. And then at the end of the presentation, I will show you an history case on that. And so put your effort also to find the proper place where people can imagine, ideate, create, and come up with the final solution. So point 5, have the courage to fail. Fail early and fail often. This is design thinking is based on an interactive process. If you start all over again after the customer feedback of your prototype, you are on the right track. You have saved a lot of time and money because you have already found out before the implementation of your idea and that it will fail on the market. With design thinking, you need the courage to go through several loops. Innovation needs failure. You learn from feedback and improve through repetition. So this is also the very important point. As I mentioned before, we have to fail. And during the process, when we prototype and we have to check our solution with our customer first, our stakeholder, because the process involves all the customer, all the stakeholder. So when we prototype for the first time and we test, we have to test our solution with our customer. And in case this does not work, we have to restart the process again. But this is what design thinking need to come up with the right solution. Then point 6, allow even crazy idea to happen. The last two steps of the design thinking process are to generate ideas and develop prototype from them, which are then tested on the customer side. The more idea, the better always applied with regard to idea generation. So again, be experimental, think outside the box, and allow to crazy idea to come because everything is possible. Another problem that we faced a lot, especially with the experienced SMEs and companies, not with the startup, because the startup most of the time has very strong idea, very innovative idea, but when we are facing with consolidate the company, that the situation is different. And sometimes they are very focused again more in their technology than on the market. So they don't want to to break the box and to come up with the innovative idea. And that's why the design process, and exactly at this point, the design process can help this kind of company to go out from their consolidate idea and open their mind to create a new solution. Then point 7, design thinking doesn't mean sitting in a room all day discussing colorful post-it. Rather than it's about thinking with your hand and developing prototype as quickly as possible. Prototype means making your idea come to life. So you can learn from it. It's a matter of building a model that of what you think your concept should look or feel like in order to get feedback and to improve change or possibility even to abandon your idea. So yeah, we have to be again very open and use do a lot because design thinking is not imagine again, but is a prototype and test. The two last steps are very important, and all the process is focalized to get these two last steps and to test the final solution with your customer and end user. Yeah. Point 8, don't fall in love with your first prototype. This is one of the errors that most of the companies incur, that they fall in love with their first prototype, especially when they haven't created anything with their hand for a long time. However, the first prototype is usually not the best solution. So again, if it's not the best solution, burn your prototype and start again, because you are in the right track. This is the process of design thinking. If you understand that, don't be fixed. Don't be so. Don't be so focalized on your first prototype, because you have to check with your end user first, and then with your stakeholder and your community, because you have to understand if really your first prototype is the right one for the market. Then point 9, put the function of your prototype in the foreground. If you test a prototype that is beautiful to look at, there is a risk that the test user will evaluate the design and not the functionality. So in design thinking project, the prototype are all about building the most valuable product or service for end user. Point 10, openness to result for the best solution is an important principle in design thinking. Many innovations fail on the market because they do not bring add value to the customer. To avoid this, design thinking shifts the focus from a purely technical solution to a human solution. Design thinking is an innovation approach that focuses on customer need and gradually approaches the best solution via interactive feedback loops. This allowed user need to be identified, innovative ideas to be evaluated, or solution for complex interdisciplinary problem to be found. Design thinking is a method of meeting people need and desire in a technological, feasible, and strategical, mindful way. This is the Tim Brown sentence. So this is the last sentence that the number 10, I believe, is the most important one, because again, design thinking put the technical solution with the human solution. And this is exactly, of course, what naturally people do, because now we describe the process, but normally if you, if your mind is open, and if you understand the market and if you are entering with the digital tools we have right now available in all the market, it is clear that every company that really want to enter and to have a very and to brand their product correctly, they have to combine their technical solution with the human solution. And when these two assets are together, then we can really create an innovative approach that focus on customer need. Customer is our first target. And believe me, that is not an easy job, because again, sometimes we are more focused on our technological solution than on our customer. So it's a big effort that the company has to do internally. And of course, to do that, the entrepreneurs has to have a vision of that, and need, of course, a couple of need help also from expert, design process expert that can lead the company in this direction. So last but not least, just a few words on the role design thinking plays in sustainability and corporate social responsibility. Design a better future. All company, we have to focus on making a transition to low carbon, resilient and sustainable business model. So when we are looking for a new business model to launch, we have to take in consideration that sustainability now and in the future will be a very important asset that we have to take in our mind. If, for example, for the fashion industry, if you use sustainable materials, then and you can communicate this, and you communicate this value, this asset to your customer, that probably you can get a big success, because of course using a sustainable material, especially for the fashion industry, it's extremely important. So take in consideration that sustainability is an asset in every business model you want to launch. Use design thinking for sustainable innovation. Sustainability is an increasingly asset for businesses. There is a growing will to pay attention to our consumption habits in order to reduce our impact on the environment. So the design thinking plays an important role in this transition, because it's able to integrate this concept at the start of the project. If you start a project from scratch, if you start a new business, or if you prototype a new product, this is extremely important and is an asset for your company, and especially is an asset for your end user. So how design thinking plays a role in sustainability and corporate social responsibility? One of the best examples of design thinking at work is human-centered design. Human-centered design specifically addresses human want and need. So good design thinking process aim to serve and address unmet human need over the long term, rather than focus on band-aid solution. So making something usable again and again can help it to be sustainable and innovative. Increasing the impact of social engagement. Design thinking is a powerful tool also in this direction to increase the impact of social engagement. By working closely with your client and with client consumer, design thinking allows a solution to social problem to bubble up from below rather than being imposed from the top. Social challenge requires systematic solutions that are grounded in the client or customer need. This is where many approach found, but this is where design thinking, a new approach to create solution excel. So let's say that this is extremely important, because a social challenge exactly require a solution that come up from client and customer. So when we start designing something new, a new product or a new way to do business, so a new business model, we have to take in consideration all these factors to come up with solution that really has a positive impact and the social engagement in the community. And this is exactly what the social economy is doing, and the social economy is right now is booming, is increasing in all over the world. So we have to take in consideration this point very carefully. So last sentence that I like very much to highlight is that logic will get you from A to B, imagination will take you everywhere. So this is the last sentence of Albert Einstein, and which I totally agree. And I would like to show you the last video, which is, now I stop the share. Yeah. Can you, yeah.
The British are coming! The British are coming! Wait, it's the Italians. The Italians are coming!
The 5-passenger Fiat 500L. The revolution just got bigger.
This is going to be so much better than the Tea Party.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining this video, which is, I really love this video because yeah, it's exactly what design thinking is. When you really want to come up with a new product and innovative ideas, you have to look at your end user. And in this video, which is done by Fiat, you can see that how the brand is developed, how the experience is customized oriented, is customer oriented. And again, I invite all of you, especially within the framework of LevelUP initiative, to imagine your innovative idea, to create and to imagine, to develop new business in a very innovative way, using the 5 steps of design thinking as an asset to build a better business. Thank you for today. And if you have any question, of course, I'm available. Thank you.
Thank